First we will try to explore the classes that is available in java.io package. Most applications often require data to be read from an external source or data to be stored on an external source. So, files are used for storing, reading and writing the data. So, for this purpose we are using files as well as streams. So, most of the applications are used in order to store your data and retrieve your data. So, in this cases we have a set of classes and interfaces that is defined in java.io package, which are used in order to retrieve these data. So, for this purpose we are going to use files as well as streams. So, here we can have a look on some of the IO classes defined in Java. One is buffered input stream, next is buffered output stream, byte array input stream, byte array output stream and data input stream. So, here buffered input stream, as the name states, that buffering is done in the input. So, directly the input stream is not used and we have a methodology or method to access it as in form of buffer. Next is byte array. So, this is used in order to input as well as output the byte array, and next is data input stream as well as the data output stream. Then we have file input stream, we have file output stream, file readers, file writers, piped readers and object output stream. So, in case of data input stream as well as data output stream, here we know that we have two types of data, one is primitive data and non-primitive data. So, here this data input stream and output stream are used in order to access the primitive data types, whereas for a non-primitive data types it comes under the type object input stream and object output stream, because non-primitive data are defined as classes and created as objects. So, what we have to do is we have to use object input stream and object output stream in order to access those type of non-primitive data types which is defined as objects, whereas in case of data, your primitive data, it may be int, it may be double, it may be float. So, in that case what we use is, what we do is we use data input and output streams, and then in order to access your file we go in for using file input stream and file output stream. So, anyway we are going to see about your various types of streams. So, your file input stream, your file reader as well as your file output stream and your file writer, these are going to access data in two different formats, one is in bytes, another one is in characters. So, piped reader. So, piped reader is used in order to handle your data in form of pipe. So, it means that it is not only a continuous stream of bytes as well as it will be in form of pipe. So, your data will flow in form of pipes and then that will be readed in form of pipe reader. So, we have some options other than your normal reading in order to perform on your pipes. So, we also have the following interfaces defined, that is data input, data output, file name filter, your object output, object input, object stream constants, externalizable, object input validation, serializable and file filter. So, we have already discussed that interfaces are used in order to make your classes to inherit multiple facilities, that is multiple behaviors of different classes into one class. We normally go in for using the interfaces. So, here these interfaces will help one particular type of class to have more functionalities than the other type of classes. So, first we will look about what is a file. So, file is an object that is used to obtain or manipulate the information associated with the disk file, such as permissions, time, date and directory path, and to navigate the subdirectory hierarchies. If directory in Java is treated simply as a file with one additional property, a list of file names that can be examined by the list method. File is what we know as a normal file which could store some data in any format. So, we have .dat file, we have .obj file, you have file which could store different types of data, that is different data in different data in different format. So, here a file object in Java. So, you know that there should be a class called file and there should be an object that need to be created in order to access a file. So, a file represents an object here. So, we also name directory as a file here. So, a file can be a file, a normal file, or a file could represent a directory also. So, if a file represents the directory, then we have a method called list in order to list what are all the other files that is available inside that particular directory. And also whenever you have a file, you also have all the information associated with the file. So, when the type of file, whether it could be a file which is readable, writable, what permissions we have, time of opening your file, all the details will be there as parameters in your file class. So, variables in your file class. So, you can access all those variables and can know about a particular file. So, here you can see these are all the constructors that could be used to create file objects. One is file, string, the directory path. So, the directory path where your file is available. Next is file, string, directory path, and then the file name. So, in this case I have a directory path as well as the file name. Here a constructor in which I have the file as well as a string, that is the file name. Next is file and then an URI. So, URI where exactly your file resides. So, any of these constructors could be used in order to construct a file. So, in case if it is a directory is a file that contains a list of other files and directories. When you create a file object and if it is a directory, you can check whether the file is a file or directory using a method called isDirectory. So, whenever the file that you have is a directory, then this will return true. So, in order to create directories, we have mkdir, that is making your directory method, it creates a directory. So, returning true on success, and then in case if you are not able to create the directory for any cause, then it will be false. So, failure indicates that the path specified in the file object already exists. So, for example, you are going to create a new directory. So, whenever you create a new directory, that directory should not be already present in the particular path. So, if it is already present, so then whenever you call this method mkdir, this will return a false. It means that already there is a directory that is available with that particular name. So, in that case whenever it is false, you can handle it. You know what is exception mechanisms, you can handle it by checking whether you could replace the name of that, or else you can give any other options in order to handle that particular type of exception. So, here that directory cannot be created because the entire path does not exist. So, the path that you have given is not correct. To create a directory for which no path exists, use mkdirs. So, if there is no path, if you use the method mkdirs, it creates both the directory and all the parents of the directory. So, you know what is a directory structure. So, if I am trying to create, so we have seen d:\ugc, and then inside that you are trying to create one directory. So, even if you do not have a directory called ugc, what it will do is it will create the directory called ugc, and inside that any other directory that you like to create. So, it means that it creates all the directories that you have given in the path.